ice. So happy to have you here as we are seeing things just get underway right now. And by the way, if you missed it earlier, a winter storm warning has been issued a bit farther south, including the Worcester Hills and Berkshires, even portions of Essex County there too, in northeast Mass, a part of this winter storm warning. And if you're not in the warning, you're still under a winter weather advisory and high wind watch. So a lot of things going on here. Let's talk about what's ahead. And actually what I want to get into is what you may be seeing outside now. Most of you, in fact, seeing some snow begin to work its way across the state, and you can see it all the way backed up into Pennsylvania and upstate New York. So you know we got a few hours of this before really anything begins to change here. By change, we're talking about mixing in the morning. But first things first, radar right now. You can see blue colors overtaking much of the state. The steadiest snowfall right now in the central part of the state and western Mass too, but it'll be continuous for much of the evening, and I'll put this in motion for you so you can see the timing likely arrived at if you're just looking out the window and seeing it now. Western Mass saw the snow move in around 4, Worcester closer to about 4:30, and in Boston we saw the snow begin somewhere around 5:30, at least lightly, and we're going to continue to see a radar that looks like this for much of the night. Actually getting here just a bit earlier than I expected, but still going to see a very similar forecast play out. Snow is going to be steady with road conditions deteriorating closer to about 9 o'clock. Sunday, here we are, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's when things really start to get messy. And the reason it doesn't get messy till tomorrow morning is because, you know, we're in New England, and while snow is a nuisance when you get, 4 or 5 inches of it, it's not a problem. You know, we know how to deal with it. We know how to drive on snowy roads. Of course, you got to take it slow and be safe. I'm not saying just go ahead and go full speed, but the bigger concern is the ice that we don't deal with as often here. By 8 a.m., and you guys have had sleet, we've all had sleet, but by 8 a.m. we're talking about freezing rain, which we sometimes get here in small doses, but we're talking about a more significant amount tomorrow. And that's what sets this winter storm apart from many of the others that we see. These pink colors indicate mixing of sleet and freezing rain. But if you notice the Worcester Hills here, for much of the day, you're going to have those pink colors really just in and out. Meanwhile, the southeastern part of the state, you may have also noticed, transitions to rain during the day. So we'll talk about ice amounts here in a moment. I want to show you snow amounts too. Generally speaking, 3 to 6 inches across most of the state. 1 to 3 if you're on the south shore, but still expecting we'll be closer to that 2 or 3 inch range. 6 inches or more only if you're in northern New England. Of course, you're going to wake up to this tomorrow. It's going to be messy. It's going to absorb a lot of that rain, and a lot of refreezing will occur. But I want to jump into the ice because, like I said, this is what differentiates this storm. And if you live in the central part of the state or in the Berkshires, that's where the highest chance for any significant icing will be. Some of you guys who are listening to this may remember '08. There was a big ice storm in the central part of the state. I'm not expecting anything like that, but I do want to say that up to a 1/4 inch of ice, even a little bit more in some spots, is what we're expecting. And a 1/4 inch of ice can damage tree limbs, especially when the wind picks up, which it will. And of course, when you have that just covering surfaces like roads, sidewalks, everything's going to be really slippery. So I really would not recommend travel until we get towards, Monday, really, or at least until these roads are treated. Expect things to be very treacherous on the roads on your Sunday is what it boils down to if you're in the central part of the state. Now, if you're on the outside of 495 closer to the water, that's where you're likely to be okay because we don't have the same kind of cold, and there will be some melting during the day. But want to show you some of these hazards. Of course, we mentioned road conditions, but power outages and refreezing, two big concerns that impact central Mass, the power outages and refreezing everywhere. The power outage threat, though, unlike many storms when, we get the nor'easters, the wind howling, snow falling all at once, this one, they're separated, okay? So we get the snow, we get the ice, that's tonight into Sunday, and then we have a bit of a break, but by the time we get into early Monday morning, the wind really picks up. And throughout the day Monday, we're talking about wind gusts that may be as high as 60 miles per hour on those hilltops. You can see here one of our weather models showing at noon on Monday, wind gusts around 55 miles per hour in Worcester. To put that into reference, when we get severe storm warnings, we talk about wind gusts that are as high as 58 miles per hour or above. and that's considered severe, and severe storms do damage. We're talking about wind gusts that'll be comparable to that at their peak, and considering these trees are going to be holding a lot more weight, I do expect some trees to go down, at least branches in the central part of the state. So don't rule out power outage potential on Monday if you're in Worcester County. Of course, if you're visiting family or doing something out in the Berkshires, the same threat lies out there as well. And if you plan on skiing this weekend or next week, you may want to think about going up Tuesday because a lot of those lifts are not going to be open with this level of wind. So just some things to think about. In terms of refreezing, temperatures are going to be cold this week. Tomorrow, in Boston at least, we get up to 40. Worcester's closer to 32. And then Monday through Thursday, we probably won't see any high temperatures above 32 degrees. And with that, snow is going to act like a sponge tomorrow with the rain falling on top of it. Everything's going to freeze as we head into Monday. And if you're not able to shovel it or get rid of it Sunday night before that happens, living in New England, you're dealing with a much bigger mess. So I'd recommend getting rid of it sooner than later. Certainly, I will be telling my family on the South Shore to do that because that's one of those places where you're going to get some melting on Sunday and it's going to get really slushy and easy to freeze. And of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on those impacts throughout the week. And I'll also mention now, just because you guys are watching us here and we're off air Thursday, I'm watching the chance for another winter storm. I haven't talked about it too much on air yet, but because I have some extra time, I'm going to pull up one of our graphics. Thursday, you may be hearing some buzz about online, by the way. It's getting a lot of hype online, I'll be honest. I'm not expecting this to be one of those storms that we're going to have much detail about this far away. One of our weather models here showing it dropping to the south, and I'll tell you, the trend is that it's a near miss at this point. So just want to clarify some information. If you've been hearing about Thursday's storm, it's important we watch because the potential is there for more than 6 inches of snow. But what I will say is that right now, at this moment, I'm looking at a near miss with still the potential for this to move farther north. So we'll be keeping you updated on that through the week. As we get through this storm, really once we get to Monday, you want to be tuning in here. Sherry and Kevin and I and Vicki will all be keeping you updated on Thursday's weather. But a lot to track as we stay in this active weather pattern. That said, I'll give you one more look at radar here, then we'll wrap things up for now. We'll have another update here on the web at 8:30, by the way. I'll have, of course, more information. We'll have more snow likely on the ground. Looking forward to hearing some of your reports. Feel free to send them in. I'd love to use some of the information that you guys are sending our way. But our storm just getting underway. Things go downhill about 10 o'clock and later, and we'll be keeping you updated. Like I said, 8:30, and then at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll have updates on the web, and we'll see you later on. So stay safe and stay warm out there, too.